Zoom. Good morning, Shonda. Thank you for joining. Hello, hello. It's Sunday, and here in Canada, we're celebrating a long weekend. It's the civic holiday. I think that's the holiday. And so we have a long weekend happening here. And we also have a family wedding this weekend. My husband's first cousin is getting married after having waited for 2 years because of COVID. So we have a family wedding to go to, which is always super exciting. It's really nice to see family that we haven't seen in so long. So, really looking forward to that. Good morning, Sonia. Please do say hello as you are jumping on. Thank you for sharing. Good morning, Linda from Texas. If you have any issues with seeing or hearing me, please let me know in the comments and I'll figure out what I need to adjust. And I am just going to sip my coffee and wait for another few seconds, and then we will get started. And I will show you what we are going to be creating today. Does everyone have their coffee or tea? I'm sorry I wasn't live last weekend. As I mentioned, I had posted that day. I'm doing product shares, and my desk was entirely covered with paper and ribbons and things like that. So I just couldn't move it all because I was worried things were going to get mixed up. But I'm back today. Good morning, Natalie. Good morning, Betty. Happy Sunday, everybody. Okay. For those that are watching for the first time, my name is Zara Premji. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and creative coach from Markham, Ontario, Canada. And for those of you that have been watching regularly, you could probably say my opening monologue for me, but I do like to say it for those that are watching for the first time. 9.5 years ago, I was introduced to card making, and it came at a time where I was working full time. I had two young kids. They were both, if it was 9.5 years ago, they were like 5 and 7. So young kids, busy with all of the, driving everyone to around to programs and lunches and schools and all the things. And so I was just not really finding a lot of time for myself or time to do anything creative or fun. So when I was introduced to card making, I could see how that could fit into my busy life because it really doesn't take too long to make a card. I loved being able to stamp and cut and touch the different tools and ink pads and things like that. And so it brought me a lot of joy. And it's something that I have been intentional about carving out time for in my life on a fairly regular basis. And I also was able to build a business sharing paper crafting and card making with others, which has been super fun. And so one of the things that I love to do is show up here every Sunday and do a coffee and a card live stream. So I usually do make 1 to 2, sometimes 3 cards, and just share some tips for card making, hopefully some ideas and inspiration, hopefully a little bit of entertainment. And I just want everyone to walk away from this feeling joyful and happy, and that they've had fun, and maybe that they have some inspiration for card making. So that's my purpose for being here. Good morning, Janice. Thank you for joining us. You're having another beautiful warm day in Newfoundland. Beautiful. The weather here is supposed to be rather hot, which might pose a little bit of a problem for the wedding. We have to go, not problem, but I had a dress in mind that I was going to wear, and it has like a long sleeve lace overlay. So I'm worried I'm going to be baking, but yeah, anyway, I'm going to shop the closet to see if there's anything else that might be a bit more suitable for the weather. But anyway, let's get started. So I'm going to remove this banner and we are going to get started. So hopefully you can see my surface here. For those of you that have not been watching lives or things like that, what you might not know, and for those of you that do know, this is going to be repetition for you, is we are in the midst of one of our biggest promotions of the year, which is called Celebration. This runs for July and August, so it's going to be ending August 31st. And what's really awesome about this is everything in this little booklet that you see here is actually free. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I get giddy when I get stuff for free. And so there are a multitude of different stamp sets, die sets, papers that you can get for free with a qualifying purchase. And to qualify for a purchase, you just need to spend $60 or more. And that can be on anything. It can be, clearance stuff, sales stuff, anything in any of the catalogs, anything online. And so once you hit that $60 threshold, then you get to choose an item for free, which is super exciting. So I've actually shown some projects. So if you haven't seen my videos, you can go back to the last few, and I've been featuring some different celebration products. So 2 weeks ago, I believe I did the Rings of Love designer series paper. And today I'm going to be sharing with you these awesome tree lot dies. So you can get a whole set of dies. There are 24 dies in here. You can get them for free with a $120 purchase. So I know I had said the qualifying amount is $60. There are multiple products in here that you can get for free with the $60 purchase. And then we have a few sort of, I guess not bonus, but like over the top, meaning like there are so many different dies or so many different stamps in the set. And those are free with a $120 purchase. So let me show you these dies. This is the first time that I played with these dies. I've been seeing projects all over Pinterest and Google, and I just haven't had a chance to play with them. So I'm super excited to share a really fun summery Christmas in July project with you. So I just want to point out really quickly that there are so many different dies here. There's a cute little camper van. There's multiple pieces that you can do to make this different colors. We've got some different detailed trees. We've got outline trees, and these will cut out the stamps from the trees for sale stamp set. So what's really cool is that these dies coordinate with a stamp set that's in our holiday catalog, okay? You don't absolutely need the stamp set to use the dies or the dies to use the stamp set. But let me tell you, when you put them together, it makes for a really fun project. So, and then there are all sorts of other little add-on dies. So there's a wreath, there's a bow, there's some little stars, different tree trunks. There's a tree stand. So all sorts of different dies in here that you can use to create a really cool scene or scape on your card. So we're going to be using these today with our cut and emboss machine. And I'm also going to be using the stamp set. So the stamp set, as I mentioned, is called Trees for Sale. There are 17 stamps in here. And what's really cool about these is that you can do what we call two-step stamping. So you can actually create more detail on your trees. And I'm going to show you how to do that with just one ink pad. I mean, my trees are in 2 different colors, but just with one ink pad, you can create some depth and dimension. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning. Okay, so let me close this up. So you can, again, get these for free right now because of our celebration promotion. And I'll just really quickly show you where you can find this set in the holiday catalog. So on page 39, there is the stamp set, and then they show you some cute samples with the trees. And this card here was kind of the inspiration for my card today because I loved the color scheme. And so that's what I'm going to be using today. So I will show you the card. If you like to be surprised and don't want to see the card, look away, and then you can see it all coming together. So in 3, 2, 1. Here's the card. So I know for some of you, you're like, okay, really? She's doing a Christmas card in July. But I know that there are some people who start their Christmas cards really early or are doing them year round. And I just thought I would add a fun sort of summer twist to this by choosing some bright, non-traditional colors. And the great thing about this card is that to make it, you need very little paper. So I'm using one piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock. And then I've got a piece of basic white cardstock that I'm going to actually be laying on my pieces. And then I've got another scrap piece of basic white cardstock where I'm going to stamp and die cut some different things. So I see that Janice is saying it's never too early to make Christmas cards. Good morning, Heather. Thank you, Sonia. Okay, so let me show you one of the things about this card that I really loved is, did you ever play with those paper dolls when you were younger? So, you could get like the doll that you would punch out from the page, which was kind of in a cardboard material. And then you could like take little outfits and dresses and shoes and pants and tops and things, and then add them onto the paper doll. So this kind of reminds me of that because there's so many fun little pieces that you can use to play around. You could even actually create like a cute little activity for a child where you could actually cut out the trees and have all the little pieces, and they could kind of start to put things together in a little scene as well. So I'm just going to quickly burnish my cardstock here so that it's taking up less room on my surface. Yeah, some of you really loved playing with paper dolls. I know. It was such, oh my gosh, the number of hours that we would spend, my sisters and I, playing with these paper dolls. Like we loved it. So, okay, let me show you how to stamp the trees and to be able to get that two-toned effect on them. I've already got my stamps mounted on the blocks. Now, some of you may not have quite as many blocks as I do. I have them because I used to do a lot of in-person classes. And so to be able to share the blocks, you know, amongst everybody it was necessary. And so you don't necessarily need that many blocks. I usually recommend going with at least one or two. So one on the larger side, one on the smaller side. And if you're just kind of getting started with paper crafting, I can certainly help you figure out which sizes you might need for the stamps that you have. So when you want to do it in that two-tone look, you want to start with your larger outline tree. And I'm going to use polished pink for this because, you know, pink should be on every card. Well, maybe not every, but on lots of cards. So I've inked it up and I'm going to stamp it off once onto my grid paper. And then I'm going to stamp it onto my cardstock. Okay. So you can see that it's a little bit faint there and it's a little blotchy, but it's going to get covered by the other detailed tree. So I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to stamp that onto my cardstock here. And then I'm going to take the detailed part of the tree and I'm going to stamp this in full strength onto the tree that I had first stamped. Okay, so that's how with just one ink color, you can get this tree that has some depth and dimension. I'm going to close that and put it away. And then I'm going to grab my Coastal Cabana, which, I mean, I don't know if there are more summery colors than this one. So if you're offended that I'm doing Christmas cards right now, at least I'm using beachy colors. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the Coastal Cabana. And I'm going to just stamp that off and put that there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the detailed tree. Okay. Oops. I'll stamp that beside it. Okay. All right, so my trees are done. Now, while I have my Coastal Cabana ink open, I'm going to just stamp. There's this stamp that has these little dots. They could be used as ornaments, and I'm just using them to create a fun polka dot background on my card, okay? So even if you don't want to do anything to the card base, no texture embossing or anything like that, you can just take one of the stamps in the set and create just a fun background. Now notice I'm only going around the perimeter of the card, and that's just because the middle of the card is going to get covered by the white cardstock piece, okay? So I am just gonna do this on this last side here, and you can always add more later. So once you put that white piece of cardstock down, you can kind of see, like, are there any empty spots, anything else I want to fill? Maybe I want to do this corner here and maybe a little bit here and here. Okay. And that's a simple, like, it's just a simple way to be able to create a fun background. Darlene saying, I love paper dolls. I wish I still had mine for visiting great nieces. I know. I wonder if they sell them. I wonder if, you know, places like the Mastermind Toys or even Amazon. I bet you Amazon might have paper dolls. Betty, I'm using Coastal Cabana as my card base. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, everyone. So this piece here is just a piece of white cardstock, and I've cut this to 4 inches. So it's 4 inches wide by 4.5 inches long. Okay, so that's just, this is going to be kind of like the main part of the card, but I wanted it to be a little smaller so that I could, you know, add the color and the fun polka dots on the outside. So let's continue with stamping the pieces for our scene. I'm going to use Smoky Slate. So because I chose Coastal Cabana and Polished Pink, I wanted to go with more of like a gray tone, like just sort of a cool tone here. So now I'm going to stamp this string of lights. I'm going to do this twice here. Okay. And do another one here. And then we've got the pole to hold up the string lights. Okay. And I'm just going to put that here and here. Okay. So now we've got all of our pieces ready to go. I've already pre-cut the star that's going to go at the top of my tree. So I'm going to grab my cut and emboss machine and we are going to, ooh, that's really close. Hang on. Let's see. Let's see if I can lift this up a little bit. Hopefully. Okay. Hopefully that's a little better so it's not like so close up that it's hurting your eyes. And you know what? I just realized I'm missing one of my clear plates. So I'm going to just run and grab that. It's sitting here on the other side of my desk. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to just set up all my dies. You can do multiple die cuts at once. So I'm going to set up as many as I can and try and run this through. And then I'll have to do it again with the second tree, the second pole, and the second string of lights. So let me start here. And I'm actually going to use my Post-it tape because I don't want it to move around. And I know that Stampin' Up! Is working hard to get us a magnetic plate, which is going to be phenomenal when it comes to not having your dies moving around. So I'm going to do this one here. Okay, take a little piece of Post-it tape. Good morning, Janice French. Coffee in hand, feeling the jingle jingle vibes. I love it. Okay, so now I'm going to find the tree for the tree die for the larger of the two trees. And then I'm going to get the smaller one out as well. Okay, there's also another, there's a smaller, in an even smaller tree than these two here. So if you wanted to do 3 different sizes, you could. And so now I've got those ready to go. I'm going to carefully put my clear plate down like so. And then I'm going to run this through. Just hold on to the clear plate until the rollers have really fully grabbed the platform, because otherwise things could still shift. Okay, so I've got that. Let me move this for a second while I grab my pieces that are already cut. So I've got one tree here, one tree here. I've got my pole, and then I've got my string of lights. So when you're cutting with multiple dies at once, it really does save you a lot of time. So when you look at a card like this and you think, oh my gosh, there's so many different die cut pieces, just know that you can do this in a way that's efficient and is not going to take you tons of time to cut them all out. I'm going to do the pole here. I'm not using the Post-it tape on the trees. I'm just doing it more on these more narrow pieces, because those are more likely to move. What's everyone up to this weekend? Tell me in the comments, what are you guys up to? Is anyone doing any crafting this weekend? I was, so for those of you that might not know, I'm part of a tutorial bundle group. It's called the All-Star Tutorial Bundle. And every month we create with a new suite. And so for the August tutorial, we're actually doing masculine cards featuring it's called He's the Man. I should have probably set this up on my cut and emboss machine. It's called He's the Man. And so I do struggle with masculine cards. I think because I love to use pink so much. And most of the men that I would give cards to don't necessarily love pink. My son would love pink because actually both of my sons really like pink. I wonder where they were influenced from. But so I do kind of struggle with the masculine cards, because you're not going to, generally speaking, make them too elaborate or, add a ton of bling or things like that. Anyway, so I finally designed my card and I filmed my video. And so that was one of the things that I was working on this past week. And so that tutorial bundle is actually free with a purchase. My team members get it for free. So if you're on my team, you get the All-Star Tutorial Bundle for free. It's valued at $20. But I also give it for free with a purchase. So if anyone places an order, then they'll get that month's tutorial. So in August, anyone that places an order is going to get the August tutorial bundle. And it's just full of like really great masculine card ideas. So if you're looking for ideas for the men in your life, then that might be a really great resource to have. Okay, so I've done all of my die cutting. I do want to color the string of lights. And of course, I'm going to go with like bright, fun colors. So I'm going to use Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo. You can use whatever color markers or blends that you have. Or you could even leave them plain. You could use pencil crayons. Okay, I'm going to reverse this a little bit. So I'm going to do Flirty Flamingo, Flirty Flamingo, and then I'll go Flirty Flamingo here. I'm just mixing it up a little bit so that because in my first card, when I put these strings of lights together, the colors were all kind of the same. And so I'm just moving things around a little bit. Am I making sense? I don't know. Sometimes I like to just blabber on and it may not make a ton of sense. You'll see when it comes together. Okay. So now we've got all of our little pieces. I'm going to move these dies so that nothing gets lost. And now we're going to start to work on our piece here. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do is just kind of lay everything out so that I can kind of see where things need to go. You generally want your strings of lights to touch the poles because you wouldn't want them floating because that would look weird. So you want to just kind of just estimate the distance. Okay, so there we go. So when you have them like that, then you know that they're going to actually touch the poles. Okay, so I am going to, of course it shifted. Okay, so I'm estimating about 1/4 of an inch from each side. Let's just double check that. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so I'm going to use my liquid glue for these poles, and I'm going to set those down first. Oh, Betty and her friend are going to be making Christmas cards together. That's so fun. I think crafting with friends is so fun. I think that's part of why I really love doing these lives is I feel like I'm like crafting with friends. And I do talk to myself when I'm crafting sometimes, but it's so much more fun when I'm doing it on a live stream because then you guys talk back to me, which is really cool. Okay, so I've got one pole there and then I'm going to do the other one. Again, just sort of guesstimating. It's handmade, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do this one here. They don't have to be perfectly straight. You would expect that they would be sort of into the ground, so it's okay if they're a little off center. So I'm going to now put down my string of lights. Hopefully you can still see me. Hello, Linda. Happy Sunday. Happy sunny Sunday. It's nice. Lots of people seem to be having some sunshine and warmth, which is always nice for the summer. And although I'm doing a Christmas card, it's a summery Christmas card. So we're keeping those warm, summery, beachy vibes going. Okay. So I'm going to do this one on a little bit of an angle there. Oops. Okay. All right. So just let that sit for a second. I'm going to just place a block on that so that it stays. And then I'm going to start to figure out where I want to put my trees. And then before I stick them down, I'm going to stamp the tree stand in soft suede. Okay, so now that that's done, I want to kind of have my trees set up. These are going to go at the back. So you don't want to cover the lights, but you want to just get a feel for where these are going to go. Okay, so you're just kind of like, you know, what's the word? Dry arranging it. Like you're not sticking anything down. And then I'm going to grab my soft suede ink. And again, I'm going to stamp off. So I don't want this color too intense. And I'm going to take that and stamp off and just put that kind of down here. Oh man. Okay, that's not terrible. And then we're going to take this one and go a little above, and then this one and do the same thing. Just a little higher. Okay. And then you can approximate where you want to stick down the trees. So it's not a biggie if they're not perfectly aligned. I'm going to grab my dimensionals now and start to put my trees down. Okay. So I'm going to do the pink trees first, and then I'm going to have the Coastal Cabana tree just kind of overlapping these trees slightly. Okay. So that's that. And then we'll do 2 dimensionals on this one. Good morning, Arlene. You loving the retro feel of my card? Yeah, I love it too. It's so fun. All right. And I love the colors. Okay, so before I go any further, I'm going to just use my liquid glue to stick this down onto my card base. Okay, there we go. Just hold that there for a moment so things don't shift. And I have pre-done my sentiment, so I wanted to heat emboss it, and I chose the So Very Merry. And so I wanted to just have that done in advance. So I've heat embossed that, and I've already cut the little stars. That is from the same set of dies, okay? And I'm just going to put one. You could also die cut that with like a gold foil paper if you wanted. I'm just going to use my take your pick tool, and because I'm on my second cup of coffee, this might be a little bit harder. Hang on, let me just use my spatula tip. Oh, come on. I should just have some patience and let that dry. Okay, I think that's okay. There we go. So that's going to sit there and dry for a bit. And then before I add on my sentiment, oh my goodness, Janet, forecast is 36 degrees today. It is a great day to stay inside. If you are jumping on late, I mentioned that we have a wedding, and part of the ceremony part is going to be outdoors. And so I'm going to have to, I just found this out. So we didn't know that. We thought that the whole thing was going to be indoors in the hall. And so my plan, the dress I was going to wear, I think I might bake in it. It's got kind of like a navy blue lace overlay. And so I think I'm a little nervous I'm going to get hot, but I'm going to wear it and take a fan with me, like a hand fan, or I'm going to have to change up the dress. And I feel like I'm missing a bunch of dresses. So because we just went through a massive home reno, and I don't know, there must be like some sort of a bag or wardrobe, like a garment bag full of dresses somewhere, because when I look in my closet, there just seems to be so many missing. Or maybe I just purged them. I don't even know. It feels like such a lifetime ago that we were, wearing dresses and attending functions. So I don't even know. I don't know where my stuff is. So I better start looking for them or getting some new dresses, because it feels like there's more weddings and events happening. I'm sorry, I should explain what I'm doing. I cut a piece of white twine from our Baker's Twine Essentials pack, and I just stuck that down. And now I've put one dimensional on one side and liquid glue on the other, because when I go to stick this down, it's going to be 2 different levels. Part of it is going to stick to the trees, which are already on dimensionals, and then part of it is going to stick to the card base, which is flat. So I'm just going to make sure that I position that such that it's not going to extend past the side of the card. There we go. And that's the card. So I'm not adding any bling to this one. I feel like there's already lots going on. As I mentioned, you could have done this in gold foil if you wanted, or you could add a little rhinestone or something to the center of that, but I'm going to leave it as is. Let me clear off this mess, and I'll show you the original and the one that I made today. So I would love to know what you think. I'm seeing some hearts and stuff going by. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you guys are liking it. I know it's a little non-traditional. I don't know if any of you like to make non-traditional cards. I definitely do. Anytime I can throw pink on a Christmas card makes my heart happy. I'm just going to look at the comments. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Shonda. Thanks, Janice. So if you love this card, please leave me a comment below, or you can hit that little heart or thumbs up. I would love to know what you think. And do tell me, do you make non-traditional Christmas cards, or are you kind of like a red and green all the way kind of gal? And if you love this video and you can think of friends and family that might enjoy seeing it, please do feel free to share it. And certainly, as I mentioned earlier, everything that we're using today is available in our catalogs. And if your order gets to $120, so for example, if you wanted to get the stamp set, the ink pads, maybe some cardstock, and any of the other tools, then you can get those dies for free. So that's going to be super cool if you can get that set of dies for free. There are 24 dies in there. And if you have any questions or need help getting started or need help putting your order together, please don't hesitate to reach out. So thanks so much, everybody. I hope you guys all have a fabulous weekend. Stay cool. Enjoy your long weekend if you are observing a long weekend. And I'll see you guys back here next Sunday. Thanks. Bye for now.